Right now, we're in a zone that I've never really seen before. And it's a zone in which it almost makes more sense to describe these particular deportations as disappearances. There is no real record of the evidence being used against the people who are facing accusations of belonging to gangs. I mean, we have seen people basically disappeared without any sense of actual accountability, people who are in the immigration court system just dropping right out of it in plain sight, in real time. What keeps me up at night is the thought of someone who really has no criminal record, who entered the country in many instances following exactly what the instructions were at the time. And so during the Biden administration, what a lot of these men did was they made appointments to show up at the southern border, to get screened. They were allowed into the country. And for one reason or other, they were eventually rearrested or never left government custody. But in almost every case, these were men who were waiting for a hearing before an immigration judge. They, by every account, had reason to think that they would at least get a chance to have their cases heard. This is how the court system works. It's how it's supposed to work. But the Trump administration has interrupted this and basically said, we don't care. We're accusing anyone and everyone we want with evidence you can't see of belonging to a criminal gang, and therefore we're justified in sending you to a prison from which, at this point, we haven't seen or heard from any of these men again. We're entering a territory that, to my mind, is somewhat unprecedented, where the government is basically saying, we get to decide who's here legitimately or not. It doesn't matter what their actual legal status is. It doesn't matter that they have papers. It doesn't matter that a judge says they have every right to stay. It doesn't matter that they have an open case in an immigration court. What matters is that we don't feel they have legitimate reason to stay here, and therefore we can act wholly unaccountably to any other branch of government and just deport these people or do whatever we want with these people. That, to me, is basically nothing short of the suspension of the rule of law, and it's the kind of thing that is going to affect everyone in this country. I mean, I think a kind of lie that everyday Americans tell themselves about some of these immigration horror stories is that it's somehow cordoned off from their own lives, that, these are stories that don't happen to American citizens. These are stories that don't happen to people who, to use a kind of famous phrase, have done everything right. But if there's any lesson in all of this, it is that it doesn't matter what you do. It doesn't matter if you followed all the rules. It doesn't matter if you have documentation. It doesn't matter if you have a social security number. The administration unilaterally, by fiat, is basically able and willing to disappear you at a moment's notice. That is a terrifying prospect.